conversation of the Thursday edition of the Burning Issue. We will give you, our listener, an opportunity to call in and interact with our guest. Let me also say that it's a wonderful morning today, and we sure hope that you will have a good time here on the Burning Issue Thursday edition. We are live on 89.9 here in Lusaka on 5FM radio, and also live on our many partner radio stations that we have. We are live on Spice FM in Chagwa Central Province on 91.1, and Kapiri in Porshi, FM is live on 100.3 FM, and covering the rest of Central Province as well. Copper Belt is live. We are live in Ndola Platinum Radio on 99.7, and also live on iWeb FM in Chingola, covering the rest of the Copper Belt on 90.1 FM. Muchinga Radio is live in Chinsali, covering Muchinga Province on 88.1 FM, and of course in Inyimba, Explorer FM is Radio Zambia, that is Facebook page, and also on our YouTube channel, that is 5FM Zambia. Also live on Smart Eagles and on Mwana Kalaba Facebook pages, as well as Hari Kalaba Facebook page. And that will give you an hint who my guest is, isn't it? And of course, yes, our guest this morning is President of the Citizens Fest, Honorable Hari Kalaba. Always a pleasure to have you, and good morning. Welcome to the Burning Issue.
Good morning, Zax. Thank you for having me. Good morning, our listeners and viewers, wherever you're watching us from. You know, Zach, it's always good to see you. And it's always good
Same here.
to be on this forum. Thank you for having me.
Indeed. And of course, we will allow someone to say hi to the listeners out there. You did not come alone, of course. And so please, you can do the honors and introduce who else has come with you.
Before I allow him to speak, by the way, I will say that the one who will be speaking, the one who's accompanying me, is Captain Mulenga. Just the other day, the Central Committee of our party did officially adopt him as our candidate for next year's elections in Chawama on the Citizens First ticket.
Okay.
In fact, the party adopted 4 candidates. The party adopted Dinkins Chibo for Mwense. We adopted Monya Chomba for Bahati, and Faith Montali for Kalulushi. So we have already started the process of adopting candidates as Citizens First. And
interesting.
We want these ones to have a head start. We want them to work hard. And anyway, let him speak for himself. He's here.
It's good to see you, Captain.
Thank you very much.
And how are you?
I'm very fine, thank you. And how are you?
Congratulations on your adoption. Like we just
appreciate it.
And, what is your vision for Chawama?
My vision for Chawama is quite wide because of the length of time that I've spent there. Looking at Chawama. As you may know, I've been a DC for Lusaka. Well, as being DC for Lusaka, I was staying in Chawama. And after leaving, and before that, I was also a councillor, by the way, for Ward 2 in Chawama.
Okay.
And Deputy Mayor Willis is staying in Chawama.
Wow.
Before I can even go anywhere else, I think basing on those 3 positions I've held before, Willis is staying in Chawama. I've looked and seen a lot of problems that Chawama has. And for people of Chawama, they will do the right thing by voting me into office because I know where to start from. I know the drainages that are there, obviously insufficient drainages. I know the amount of floods that attack the people of Chawama. I know the squalor, the poverty levels that are in Chawama. You know, I would mention to you that having visited, especially Mrs. Kuku, Lewis ground there, you find people starving, you know, visibly so. And where there is food, you will see them going in 2 shifts. That person who takes breakfast in the family will not take lunch. Leave it for the other members of the family, and that's how it goes on up to supper. So it's with this attachment that I feel I should get into Chawama and help the people of Chawama. I might not eradicate the problems, but obviously I will alleviate them.
Interesting. We are very grateful for that message. And not only have you been a DC, a councillor, you have also served in government as far as permanent secretary.
You're right, Zax.
And that gives you a lot of government experience.
Vast experience.
Yeah.
Vast experience.
Interesting. No, thank you very much, and thanks for coming.
I appreciate it.
Right, so President Hari Kalaba, we are getting right into it, and let's start with the burning issue. Your party yesterday, through you, announced that Citizens First has left the UKA alliance.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, we have left because that is the decision of the Central Committee. The Central Committee of our party is strategizing. They have identified 2025 as a defining year, considering the elections that will be coming up next year in 2026. And as I said yesterday in the press briefing, the party is making decisions that will catapult it to be the party of choice come 2026. So as they are making those decisions, they don't want to be looking over their shoulders to say, oh, we are in an alliance and therefore if we do this, we might injure our colleagues and this kind of stuff. They think that it is time that they should make decisions for themselves and take themselves to the next level. We didn't want to undermine any of our partners in the alliance, and therefore we thought it was only right that we should make progress as a political party. And so we have decided, as a political party, to remain like this, but we have said we will be working with all political players that are in Zambia. We want to work with political players in the opposition spectrum.
Right.
We want to work with them and ensure that we consolidate our goals going into 2026. And you know, it gives the Citizens First an opportunity. The opportunity is that we will not only be working with one alliance, we'll be working with several other opposition alliances that are existing. It gives us an opportunity to interact, interface, and be able to learn best practices, as opposed to just putting yourself in an enclave where you belong to this particular alliance. Now is the time for the CF to spread its tentacles so that our vision is widespread.
Do you feel that probably the energies in the UKA alliance were not level? Maybe you were, as a party first citizen, you are hungry to go out with a full force, with high energies, and others were not in the alliance?
Look, I think, Zach, I would be unfair to begin talking about other colleagues that we worked with in the alliance and say they were not hungry to go get. The fact of the matter is that each political party has got its own strategy, and maybe their strategies are that they shouldn't be going out there. We can't blame them. CF has got its own way of looking at politics. We have tried as much as possible to participate in every election, especially every by-election that has come our way. We have tried to go out and mobilize. Right now we are speaking, our national chairman is in Lumezi. He's mobilizing our structures in preparation for the by-election that is coming on. You know, because there was this principle in UKA that before you begin fielding a candidate, you need to sit down together with your colleagues so that you see who's going to field.
Right.
But we've got 1 year to go. And because of that, we thought it's only important that our strategies now should change. So, I would not say that my colleagues in the former alliance that we were in were not as ambitious as we were.
Yeah.
All I can say is that the Citizens First is an ambitious political party. We are a party that wants to be a party of choice. We understand the challenges the people of Zambia are going through.
Yeah.
We want Zambians to work with us as we want to work with them in the quest to liberate our country. We are in trouble as a country. We are in trouble as a country. And if we don't rise to the challenge, if we don't rise to the occasion, nothing is going to happen come 2026.
Let me go down to what speculated rumors are around Citizen First. First of all, you're leaving UKA. There are rumors that you are poised to join the UPND alliance. That's one. Secondly, you had a meeting that went viral with the former president, His Excellency Edgar Chagwa. And that meeting that you had brought out speculation that you are soliciting for endorsement from him. Thirdly, it is very strong around the possibility of you working with the UPND because of the fact that you have been singled out opposition political party that has managed to get permits for political rallies. And the question is, how come he is able to? And so there's this whole notion that indirectly you are working with the UPND already.
You know, Zach, it's a very sad state of affairs. If there is a person or if there's a political party that is very clear with what it wants to achieve, it's the citizens first. We know what we want to achieve. You don't know the number of requests we have made before the police. If they are listening to this program, they'll tell you. As you and I are speaking right now, we applied to have a rally in Shwangando, right? Shwangando. This weekend, we were supposed to be in Shwangando. Our team's already in Shwangando. Right now, I was talking to one of our MCCs. He's even traveling, going to Shwangando to prepare for the rally on Saturday. But they have not given us the authorization to go ahead. By law, we should not even be talking about authorization, because the law says just notify the police.
Right.
But being a peaceful political party that we have always given the police the benefit of doubt, because they always tell you, give us another date. And we do that. We have applied to have a rally. We have notified the police to have a rally in Senga Hill, in Northern Province. Supposed to be on the 10th of May, right?
10th May.
10th May. Up to now, they have not responded to us. We have applied to have a rally in Chinsali on the 24th of May. Up to now, they have not responded to us. We have applied for a rally, even as, is it early first week June, to have a rally in his constituency, in Chagwa. They have not responded to us. So, we make applications every time to have rallies, because the Central Committee's decision was that this year was a year of mass mobilizations. Now, you talk about being given permits for a rally in Kitwe, where we were with the former president, and another one where we were with the former president in Zambia. In fact, may I so rest in peace, President Nawagu. She was the one who was supposed to have been anchoring the Santhia rally. The rally in Kitwe was supposed to have been anchored by Dr. Dan Pule. But for some reason, I think he had some church program or something happened. He couldn't, and they asked the citizens first to host. So we were given that chance to hold the rally in Kitwe just by chance, just like in Zambia. But as people would want to speak, because you know, we are in competition, Zach. People will say whatever they want to say about somebody who's making progress. And the CF is making serious progress, serious strides. We are forced to reckon with. And because of that, people will throw all kinds of things at us, and they're welcome to do that. But I can tell you, when we have been given that same authorization to go and have those meetings, are we there championing the failed UPND agenda? When we are there at those rallies, do we champion the failed UPND agenda? We talk about the citizens first and what we want to do. Having a rally is not a prison for those who are working with UPND. How come Mr. Mtati is working with UPND, is in the UPND alliance? Mr. Mtati is not having rallies. Does it mean he's also not working with UPND? He's not having rallies, but he's there in the alliance. Mr. Milupi is ADT, is working with UPND, he's not having rallies. Does it mean him not having rallies is not working with UPND? You can't use that as a yardstick. We in the citizens first will not be detracted by those who think that if they throw those kind of stones at us, we are going to be worried that, oh, they have said this, therefore Mlenga, let us tone down or slow down. We are not doing that. The days of the elections are not waiting for us. This is May already. April is finishing in the next very few days. We will be in May. The elections are supposed to be happening in August. Parliament will be dissolved in May. So what are we doing sitting in Lusaka? We are going flat out. Even tomorrow I'm driving out of Lusaka to go and meet people on the ground. So those who are telling you and telling others that, you know, I think Kalaba is working with the UPND, we have no business working with the UPND. If you wanted to work with the UPND, we would tell you that we are working with the UPND like others have done. Ours is to work with the people of Zambia, for the people of Zambia, because that is the mandate that we have. And when people say, no, this guy has invited you to go and work with the UPND, they can hallucinate as much as they want. And Zach, I want to tell you that the UPND, you know that even on this radio program I told you, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema had requested that I work with him even before he became Republican president. He wanted us to work together. And I said, no. Even after he won elections, there were overtures of him wanting to work with us. We said no, because the lies that you have told the people of Zambia are very gigantic. There is no way you, sir, can bring down the price of minimum in the manner that you are proposing. There is no way, sir, you can bring down the dollar from wherever it is. At 10 hours you are sworn in, 14 hours the dollar collapses. There is no way, sir, you can bring down the price of fertilizer from the price that it is now to 250 kwacha per bag. You, sir, cannot give the farmers 4 bags of fertilizer of urea and 4 bags D compound. Because, sir, most of the statements that you make are laced with lies. So, we don't work with lies, because when you read the Bible, Amos 3 verse 3 will tell you, unless the two agree, they cannot move together. Darkness and light have never mixed. So for us as citizens first, we belong to the truth. Those who belong to lies will always be known. We are not going the UPND route. We will never go the UPND route. We will go the Zambian route of alleviating the challenges.
And the speculation about your meeting with the former president?
President Lungu, I wish him a very restful place at time as he's in Johannesburg. President Lungu called me before he went to South Africa. We had a 3-hour meeting with the former president at some place where we normally meet with him, somewhere in State Lodge. We had a conversation for almost 3 hours. Just the two of us, no one was there. Just the two of us. And when we had that discussion with the former president, he did invite me to join Tonse. And I respectfully told His Excellency that, sir, Citizens First doesn't think that joining Tonse is what is going to finish the challenges that the country is going through. But I am grateful, and what Citizens First will do is to work side by side with yourself and the Alliance Tonse. That's what I told the president. That we work side by side, but not that we are going to join Tonse. We are going to work side by side. And the president understood. 2 days later, President Lungu again invited me for a conversation with the late leader of FDD, Madam Nawakwi, at her residence, Mrs. Nawakwi. We spent another 2 hours at Mrs. Nawakwi's place. Myself, President Lungu, and the late Edith Nawakwi. And in that meeting, again, the president mentioned to Madam Nawakwi to say, Nawakwi, tell your brother, I have invited him to come and work with us in Tonse, but he keeps saying, let's keep on working side by side. Let him explain to you what he means side by side. And we began laughing about it. So the short and true story to this fact is that I have a good working relationship with the president, President Lungu. There has been no time that one can say our relationship with the former president has been acrimonious. It has been a very good working relationship. And even when he was leaving for South Africa, when we met him, he was saying bye to me and Madam Nawakwi at our residence. Even when he arrived in Joburg, he was talking to me that he has arrived. So it has been okay. So those who are trying to bring innuendos and bring issues, they're not telling the truth. President Sean Tembo, 2 days ago, I think you saw it.
Yes,
I think he posted something.
Yes.
President Sean Tembo Sachs, 2 days ago, again came to see me that I have been sent again by the former president. He's asking you to join Tonse. Then I told President Sean, I said, you know, Sean, the former president has made this request for me now. This is the 3rd time that he's doing it. And I told the former president that we are going to work with him. Even in now, we are working with Tonse as Citizens First, side by side with Tonse, because Tonse is also in the liberation struggle like we are. Tonse wants the people of Zambia to be liberated. The Citizens First wants the people of Zambia to be liberated. So we are already working together side by side. And he says, no, we are writing to you now formally. So I told him, please, we'll receive that formal letter and I'll take it to the Central Committee of the party. The Central Committee of the party, they are here. I briefed them when we had a meeting the other night. I briefed them, even yesterday, after our press briefing. We did sit with some members of the Central Committee and I briefed them about my meeting with President Sean Tembo. And the party is waiting for that formal invitation to Tonse. And we are going to respond formally as well to Mr. Sean Tembo over their invitation.
Mm. Now let's get into the fact that this country is debating a lot of things. Okay, so before the debate of the Constitution Amendment came the law, of course, cyber law, which was signed by the president into law. It was a bill then signed into law. Again, the country has gone into debate, and all this is happening while, you know, the issues around the high cost of living again is an issue. I think Captain mentioned about it, how hungry people are. I mean, first of all, timing-wise has been an issue because the church has spoken in as far as constitutional amendment that this is untimely, because then at the moment the issues that this government should be addressing are the high cost of living and not talking about the constitutional amendment. What is the position of Citizens First with regards to constitutional amendment?
We have been very clear ourselves as Citizens First. We have said there is nothing wrong with having constitutional amendments. This is not the first time the country will be having constitutional amendments. But every time constitutional amendments have taken place, Lazak, we have always relied what they would want amended. Then the leaders would look at that and table it before the appropriate authorities. I know that this country has the CRCs before, Constitutional Review Commissions, that have been appointed to go around getting the views of what Zambians think on a particular agenda item. It has never been the preserve of those in authority to wake up from their palaces and then dictate the terms of reference and say, no, these are non-contentious issues. Who told you that what you are suggesting is non-contentious? And as you've said in your remarks, Zach, Valas na bakana, Vagatolika, Va-UCZ, Va-Pente, or should I just simply say the church mother bodies, na bakana tabalefuayo kukwata ama amendments to the constitution. Ama political parties, if we, na vote with my stakeholders, na if we na tukana, tatulefuaya ama amendments achitike. Non-government organizations, na bakana, tabalefuaya ama amendments achitike. Civil society organizations, na bakana, they don't want amendments to happen. Why are you forcing something that everybody has said no to? Church may patikisha. Because if all these stakeholders have said no, what is your business? What is your business forcing people to say we have to go ahead and have these amendments because we need the youth and the women to be appointed or to be included in the leadership structure? And we say those are not the real reasons you are bringing it up. Pantu, we have all said let's have this thing after the elections next year. Then we can all say, okay, now let's look at this. Let's now all give our views on this and our strengths and weaknesses on these amendments. You don't want that. You are in a hurry to implement these amendments before the elections next year. Then you know there is a problem. Something is not adding up. Panimingalato imo. Overlefo abato byabapene. Pantu baishiwa. Baishiwa 2026 yanunkira. They have to begin insulating themselves. Tafia bombe. Na ikababole. Tafia bombe. One, when you talk about Vanamayo mwena babe pesha. Kola bika mmali ashara chabe. Vanamayo, you as President of the Republic of Zambia, Article 159 of the country gives you that right to appoint people of different regions, balancing people of different sexes, balancing people of different demographics. You have not done that. You have not taken advantage of Article 159. Now, in fact, if you fear Kazakhs, when you look at Parliament, the President right now under the current legislation, President Palikwatamaka, to appoint 10 members of Parliament, nominated, overlay for Africa, President. How come out of that 10 nominated members of Parliament, there has been no youth he has nominated to Parliament? even when he had that opportunity. The president has got a cabinet of about 25 ministries. Out of those 25 ministries, tell me, the president has not appointed a single youth as minister. That's the point. Over the government, out of 25 or 27 ministers, out of all those, the rest are male, and they only appoint 3 women. Then he comes to you and tells you, we want to include the women in leadership. Why didn't you include them in your cabinet? Not only that, Zambia has 116 districts, meaning we have 116 district commissioners. Out of those 116 districts, only 22 are women. The rest, out of 116. And out of those 116, there is no youth he has appointed. So when he comes to you and tells you that you want to include the youth, it is part of the propaganda machinery which the UPND regime has been accustomed to. And they think the youth will be duped. Then they'll support it. No. You have had an opportunity to appoint the youth in strategic positions. Why have you not appointed them? Why have you not appointed the disabled? Who you have had the opportunity to appoint? But you must appoint all this one. And you expect us to believe you when you say, I am doing this because we need to empower the youths and the women to be in decision-making positions. Even in the diplomatic circles, Zambia has 47 missions abroad. Out of the 47 missions, only 10 are women. 37 are only heading those missions. And none is a youth. Why didn't he appoint those? You have got permanent secretaries. Over 45 permanent secretaries. There is no youth. Permanent secretaries appoint. At Pilato, at youth, I mean, all those jokes that they're doing, it is not right. It is not right. Pilato is there, not as a youth. Pilato is there as a musician. He's supposed to be representing. Because even when they appointed Pilato, they didn't appoint him as a youth. They said to therefore people who are in the music industry, they also need to have somebody who can represent them. Even the department that he heads has to do with theatre music and so on, with artists. But up to now, there is no clear policy in this country on the musicians. There is no clear policy on the musicians in this country. That's why when we come, we need to have a clear ministry. When you look at the industry of films and music in Nigeria, the way it has blossomed, why has it grown to that level? It's because they have taken that industry seriously. Today, you've got a lot of Wampari and others acting. These people, if they were properly harnessed, if they had their own ministry with a clear policy framework to build upon what they are doing, Zambians are ambitious people. We would have had a blossoming music industry, blossoming film industry. The Nigerians would be coming here, Zimbabweans would be coming here, the Ghanaians and so on and so forth. But we have not taken advantage. Michael Zulu has tried. But Michael Zulu is just one. Savoy Imboela, when she was in this, President Savoy Imboela, by the way, very hardworking woman. When she was in this thing, she was also promoting the music industry. But what can you do when there is no credible framework in a country? You cannot grow the music industry by hook or crook. You can't do that. You have to have a clear policy framework. And when you read our manifesto, which I'll give you after this program, it is very clear on what you want to do with our musicians. It's very clear that they will have to have their own ministry. They can't always be a department. The world is changing. The world is now tilting towards where they are. But if we're in Zambia, we believe, they should continue being a department. No. We need a clear framework for people in music, for people in the film industry, so that this industry can have life. At one time, Captain, I even visited Michael Zulu and the wife, Sister D. I went to their place, 6 miles, after 6 miles. I went to visit them. Because these are unsung heroes of our country. Nobody talks about them. But what they put in to make our society a better place is a marvel. May God bless them.
And quickly, because I had the question around your leaving UKA surrounding Savoy. Now that you mentioned it, I want to just quickly touch on that. There's word that Savoy pushed this agenda to have you out of UKA.
You know, those are lies, and people should stop lying. Thank you. President Savoy, in fact, I'll tell you that if there is any member of United Kwacha Alliance that was very serious with what, in ensuring that UKA survives, it is Savoy Imboye, President Savoy Imboye. President Savoy even went to the extent of saying she's not going to contest any position for president of UKA or vice president of UKA, because she thought by her contesting she would just destabilize the organization. She said, whoever will choose, I'll be led. Because remember, when the time for elections came, she said, I don't want to be part of the elections. I don't want to destabilize the organization. I want it to remain strong and offer itself as an alternative to the people of Zambia. And therefore, I'm not standing as president. I'm not standing as vice president. She has demonstrated credibility. She has wanted UKA to survive, and she has, even when I was leaving, she talked to me several times about not leaving UKA. And I told her, this decision has been made by the Central Committee of our party. I tried to go to the Central Committee because the CF Central Committee made the decision in the last Central Committee meeting we had. When was that? 15th
March.
15th March? Yes. The decision was made on the 15th of March that we are going to re-strategize on how we move. And I held them on. I said, colleagues, I think we have to pull together. But they said, no, President. This is the direction that we have agreed for ourselves in the manifesto. We are not achieving this because currently we are under this umbrella. And maybe let us think of just working with everybody else on the political market. So anyway, to cut the long story short, President Savoy is innocent. She has been a great supporter of Harry Kalaba, even in that same UKA. She had wanted CF to remain in that UKA. She wishes the best for UKA. But what can she do? She's just one person. She's just one person. If others want it different, what can President Savoy do? So let's leave her out of this nonsense of...
Let's jump back to amendment of the Constitution. I have one interest article which I would like you to voice on, considering your experience in government. It's obviously Article 176.3 concerning the Secretary to Cabinet, that this should be amended to lower experience from 10 to 5 years for eligibility. I would want your comment on this.
I think I did miss your... I didn't say...
I would want you to comment on the article, Article 176.3, concerning Secretary to Cabinet eligibility, that it should be lowered in terms of experience, lowered from 10 years experience to 5 years for one to be eligible to be Secretary to Cabinet.
You know, first of all, I think the architects or the proponents of that law that the Secretary to the Cabinet must have sufficient experience were on very firm grounds. And I'll tell you as a former civil servant,
right?
To be Secretary to the Cabinet, you are literally running government. He's here as a former permanent secretary, he'll tell you. A Secretary to the Cabinet must be a permanent secretary who understands how governance should be, who understands how government must run.
And 5 years would not be...
It's not enough, 5 years. It's not enough to understand how government operates. Remember, it's all facets of governance. It's not just Ministry of Health. It's not just Ministry of Lands. Not just Ministry of Environment or Foreign Affairs. It is the entire governance system. The defense forces, the police, home affairs, and everything. It is the Secretary to the Cabinet who is at the epicenter. That's why they even say Cabinet is President plus one. You know who that plus one is? It is the Secretary to the Cabinet. Because the Secretary to the Cabinet is the permanent secretary of the president. Now, if you give somebody 5 years, who was not even like we are seeing in the Panta Panta administration, we are seeing in the UPND, you get somebody who has never been in the civil service, and you give him the leverage of being secretary to cabinet after 5 years, it means you want your government to be dwarfed. I would say if 15 years is too prohibitive, why not then try 10 years? Because 10 years, you will have saved yourself with a lot of experience. You will have at least cultivated a lot of experience. You know these things, I've come to appreciate them now. When I was member of parliament, President Sata left me to be in the back bench for 1 year. And I was like, Vasada. I've been with him for a very long time. Vansha mu back bench, Vasenda Bambi, Akashwa Mdala Wana Vena out. No, the man knew what he was doing. He wanted Harry Kalaba to understand how an MP functions in the back bench. And he gave me a year. And after a year's act, the president again elevated me to become deputy minister in the office of the vice president. He didn't just put me at cabinet minister, no, deputy minister. Again, I worked as deputy minister under a very senior minister because Guy Scott was the most senior minister as vice president. From there, the president said, okay, nombo yumwa echuti alingo kuwa a cabinet minister. Vasake ni vafwa. And he says, Kalaba, you are going to be Minister of Lands and Environment. And that time it was a big thing, Zaksa.
Yeah.
It was Ministry of Lands and Environmental Protection. It was two ministries combined.
Yes.
The Ministry of Environment and the Ministry of Lands combined. It was heavy. He gave me that responsibility and I acquitted myself very well. The president said, now Ulinga Ukuwanomba elevated to another notch. And he elevated me to be Foreign Affairs Minister. And when it came, I was very shocked because I was not the most senior guy. I was only 37 years of age. And I know that most foreign ministers are not that young. Most of them are seasoned politicians. They have been in the politics for too long. But Masata was demonstrating how he should groom our youths. That's what people who are grooming youths do. Number, when you have an opportunity to groom youth, there's a local government there's a local government seat according to you, go and bring a super youth or Minister of Local Government. It doesn't work that way. So the president has got no business talking about youth emancipation or women emancipation because he has not done nothing for them. And when you talk about the issue of permanent secretary, 5 years, SC, you can't do that. You are doing a disservice to your government. The problem is that you are enacting laws with particular individuals in your mind. Enact laws with the country in your mind. Because when you have the country in your mind, you will do what is right. But when you are enacting a law because so into the wukiji, therefore 5 years, you don't build a system like that. 15 years is the best to have a PS energy. The system has tested him. He has made money and he has said I will save government. Number 5 years at PS the cabinet. No ways. When we come in government, we will have to relook at that. It has to be a minimum 10 years, not 5 years.
There's also, I mean, let's look at things this way. Again, I don't know if you got into government, how you would want to deal with this issue. I think that I've had conversations with very concerned citizens, senior citizens of this country who are saying we should also apply a term of experience for permanent secretaries in government because the lack of it has made permanent secretary positions be given to even cadres who do not understand government. Do you think that this is a sober argument, progressive argument?
I will tell you myself that what should happen around the permanent secretary is what was happening in UNIP, is what was happening when I was a civil servant. Bamlenga is here, he will tell you.
Complete example of
that civil service FOR, like myself and I was a civil servant, Naingile as an executive officer, and the entry requirement was a first degree. If you're Naingile, Kuro's department, from executive officer, Wawombesha, Waba senior executive officer. From senior executive officer, Wawombesha, Waba administrative officer. From administrative officer, Wawombesha, Waba assistant director. From assistant director, Wawombesha, Waba director. From director, Wawombesha, Waba permanent secretary. That is how it ought to be. When you look at the way the civil service is being handled today, the civil service has been mismanaged by the UPN. The civil servants no longer have powers. Ministers have usurped the powers of the civil servants. When we come as CF, we understand how the civil service should work. We want the civil service to return its normalcy. Why should you get somebody who doesn't have an experience? He didn't just go to Mpone or permanent secretary. Bamlenga had to be a district commissioner first. So that he learns, district commissioner at director level.
exactly.
He learns how the civil service works. You know, he begins understanding the civil service regulations. He understands what is a recurrent departmental charge. What does it mean to be a sub-warrant order? What does it mean to be a controlling officer? Once you understand those things in the civil service, you'll back to alarm civil service. But now, umuntu hapo na civil servant ati yo wali uyu muntu yunga alifwa kuli bantandika nama amakofi balifwa okumuipaya. So twalamulambula bu permanent secretary mu civil service. Muleona ola. It doesn't work that way. And it is frustrating the majority of the civil servants. Because there are those who are career civil servants. Our Shwama politics. They will never rise to be permanent secretaries because you are bringing people our Sharam civil service line. You are killing the spirit of the civil service. That is why today, Mwanasangati, umuntu aingile nga classroom teacher. But umuine, aliwikilisha hapo. Aya ku University of Zambia. Hapo kana degree. But wale mchita elevate. Ukuti ilawe deputy head nani na ngwawe na kudepsi. If you they leave him at that level. When we come into government, we are going to give people what is due to them. Especially that in me speaking, I know how the civil service works. I know the frustrations that are going on in the police. Baka pokola, others are not being promoted. We know what is happening in the civil service. We are teacher. I'm a teacher as Bambi, but push my degrees, but they're not being promoted. We know what is happening even in the mainstream civil service, where umuntu aingilenga secretary, ayo muine kuiba in college, I stay upgrade, I have University of Zambia, Osaka University, I stay upgrade, apoka na degree, but mamleka pale bu secretary. Ichi fuile mumpele kwa ambi ukita act as human resource, but mamleka pale bu secretary. Now those frustrations, when we come into the civil service, we are going to deal with them head on. Hello, we have said ourselves, the issue, ya kutila, Mwabula government, our supported UPND, Zax. They have our degrees baker. Our supported UPND, Mama Ketias. Our supported UPND, now we know that I'm a junkie. I'm a junkie. Ever supported UPND. But how come? By UPND was some government. But the other nesu, our supported, Muba Fogwa Tio Tampote paper. Muba Fogwa Tio, let a CV or. Everybody who pay number votes. Everybody in supporter, even to go in government. You never asked for their CVs. Today, you are saying to pay you a CV by Tumonepo, and then that's why when we come in government ourselves, in our CF, the issue of grade 12, a grade 12 certificate, our councillor, that issue is going. Pantu, quite mentioned, I'm coming from a very rural place. Kumanza Kuba constituency, you have been there. It's a rural constituency. abateke mishi teba lumenda kwa take grade 12 certificate ukuteka umushi like wakutu atwika la kunchende manu muntu waishwa ma problems yabantu omwabika pali umwine mushi tababulo omuntu ati yo panti yomacha na opusha grade 12 sakuno nakasaginga ati no wala village headman takwabefyo babulo omuntu obesho tasunga abantu panti mwamina bantanaka. So if wenga ba CF tulando kutila ila provision and me I thought Hakainde Hichilema abatemu abalanda Hakainde Hichilema abatemu abantu bonse. These are the provisions you should have been saying. Bakansela level bakansela. You don't need to have a grade 12 certificate. All you need is the community to say to FYO you. And you know, it's very fashionable in this country. I was discussing with my colleagues in the Central Committee. Why is it fashionable in this country? Parliament. Parliament. Why Parliament? Because the Parliament is the people's parliament. In Parliament, that's why you need to have too much translators. Angachintwanikane angachibemba umuntu aenda muchibemba angachisungu ali comfortable MP kwanda muchisungu kuposwana na mfemo ya ku Tanzania ni muchwahili balanda kutwanikane balanda mufutundu fya ku South Africa balanda musizulu ngaife muno muzamba nishako sapo kamfe chisungu naba ni mu markets naba ni mu streets nabali abashasambirira bale fokula mfufu parliament yabwelela. If we are going to work on that. The parliament must be a people's parliament. Even Panopa Radio, when Dembele cannot Wazaki, no, I continue speaking in English. I am speaking in English, but what is wrong with me mixing English in Chibemba? Because in a Chibemba, it is just borrowed. So excuse me, I am going to speak in English, I will speak in Bemba, Nachijanja Mene Nzakamba. Neshtonga chine kulanda mabukabuti tulikabotu kulanda because we are Zambians. We have 73 languages in this country. 72? 73 languages. We must be proud of our languages. But if when you go to Poland, bali kashikenkanda, but balande chisungu. Balande Polish. When you go to Russia, bali kashikenkanda, but balande chisungu. Balande chi it's Russian, and they are proud to speak Russian in their language. Na TV, I was Russian TV, ni Russian. No, mbakuno kumyesu. Waisa panopa 5 FM. Balanda kutela yo, mwebeni yana sheko kulande chiwemba. Kwali, tuwakula alande chiwemba. Uwa ishipo kulande chilozi supporting laws na wese pano. Mwemukanya. Let them speak the language that they can speak and be heard. Zambia na tusharila. We think na tutangela, but tutangela kumo. That parliament in Gatuaisa is a people's parliament. Today for Aba Sambina Jasambila. What's wale umfwa if you under Mudenga and Damafunde. Period.
Let's get to the cyber security law. And I think that it's equally a burning issue now. But what is very key is that the fact that you have been Foreign Affairs Minister before for this government. And I think that the quickest to have responded to that law was the US through the ambassador. And it sent shockwaves to most of the people, knowing that now this is going to have an effect on the foreign direct foreign investment, because then that statement was strong. Now the UPND government, of course, through the Minister of Foreign Affairs, started explaining themselves how this law is not as well seen in the statement by the US ambassador.
No. You know what? First of all, if I Bazak, why would the government enact a law that is going to constrict its own citizens? Especially that by UPND for some government. But President is on record. Of saying the first act he's going to undertake was to repeal the cyber laws. because he felt it was going to sit on the rights of Zambians doing their internet transactions. He has not done that. So the first person that need to, this law, if it can be applied in reverse, or is how to call it in retrospect. Hakainde should be answered, because our president, internet, he has got problems. So don't go to equity with unclean hands. The Americans are right, because his cybersecurity law, it's an archaic law. It is a law that is coming, it is a law that is anti-technology. It is a law that is anti-internet and so on and so forth. It is not one which is promoting Zambia to exercise its independence when it comes to cyberspace. I even wonder why we should, even in the most dictatorial states, we have never heard of such a law being introduced. We have never heard of such a law. Why should Zambia, a country that is supposed to be seen to be transforming, be taking itself back in the Middle Ages? Because we have taken ourselves to Stone Ages with this law. 30 years backwards, law evaluated 30 years backwards. Why would you want to do that? And that is why, Bamlenga, when we form government, the first business that we should do is to do away with this. You have to go to parliament, sir, because you have to go to parliament and do away with this law. This law is not good for our country. This law is taking us backwards. I'm a youth for President Wabata. They are doing their business on internet. Number you bring Ama laws which is the laws which is very constrictive. How would they transact? I want to have businesses here. I mean, if you have internet favored, and the barrier, one is bound to say this or that. The law is saying today we got 2 years in jail, 2 years without labor, 2 years, 5 years without labor, 15 years, 25 years. Why would you want to treat your citizens using the same cyberspace to usher you into government? Why would you want to use the same cyberspace they used to campaign for you, to begin punishing them? Why would you do that? In whose interest are you doing it? What survey did you carry out to extrapolate the fact that Abantu Balefwaya in the Cybersecurity Act are enacted? Why would you want to do that, honestly? That is a problem we have in this country. Pantu, you don't want people to speak. But I can tell you, any government that has relied on the police for strength has been very weak in the long run. Pantu, power belongs to the people. Power belongs to the people. Yesterday I was defining during the press conference democracy and what it means. Demos, kratos, power, the people. You must understand that Amakaya Ramubantu. That is why even Makaunda may so rest in peace with the people. He can do ultimately. Power lies with the people. President. When people are not talking like this, that no, they are happy, we have scored 90%. Even if you're 90% we have delivered. If this is what 90% deliverance looks like, and then he's asking for another attempt to deliver 100%, then she will have load shedding of unprecedented levels in this country. Because today, as you and I are speaking, we are experiencing an excruciating load shedding, never experienced before. In the 61 years Zambia has been independent, we are giving power to countries, which power we don't have. When we come into government, we are stopping to export power to these countries until we have sufficient power here in our country. And we have gone ahead. Some people say, Kalaba, how will you bring load shedding? You know, let's begin to get very serious and listen to what we are saying. Now, the podcast the other day with those two young handsome men at Zed Shanedia podcast from Hichilema.
Yes.
You know, and they were telling me, so hard, this is how you speak. These are your plans. You know, we have interviewed people, but bring out things like this. Because that even before this program, I told you, and maybe this is what people think, oh, Kalaba is soft, Palwa UPND. I told you, I don't want to talk about individuals. That is my policy. I don't want to talk about Mr. Hakainde Hichilema. Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, it is between him and the Zambian people. Now I want to talk about what we are going to do. I have to take advantage and tell you that if we're to lay for a nuclear plant here, which I signed for and started when I was Foreign Affairs Minister, you know I signed for that nuclear plant. It's got the capacity of creating 20,000 megawatts of power. We entered into a contract, into an agreement with the Russian Federation that they build that nuclear plant. Zambian students in nuclear science were being trained in Moscow, and they were supposed to come back to Zambia to begin running that nuclear plant. But it has shut down. You still rely on Kariba. That kind of leadership, Zambia doesn't need that. You need a leader that is proactive. We are blessed as a country. We have got 8 neighboring countries. We must use our advantage geographically to ascend to where we should be. 20,000 megawatts of power speaks to our industrialization agenda, citizens first.
So that's on your agenda.
We are an industrialized party. If we're talking about industrialization, because we believe even to create the jobs for the youths, we need to industrialize this country. We need value addition. Ukwatama industries in this country. You can't have industries without energy. These two issues, energy and fuel. I mean, fuel is also part of energy.
Yeah.
But these two are critical components of any economy. And if we have our citizens first, we have understood this magnanimity. That is why, even when I was in government, I went to Russia because I understood we cannot be always depending on Kariba Dam to give us the 1,200 megawatts only. We can't be depending on Shwangandu hydropower station. Yes, we can depend on them, but as a backup. For now, when you look at these industrialized nations, they are all on nuclear energy. We have got a component of nuclear energy, which is uranium. We have it. People will tell you, no, but the effects, the environment, and what? Obviously, those things will be taken care of. We need to move in that direction so that if we can even reserve 10,000 megawatts for ourselves, then the other 10,000 we are selling, you will not even know what load shedding means because you will have invested for life. Not what we are doing right now. We want to end load shedding. Now, if this government has delivered 90%, now load shedding to wait. I'm a farmers. I was in Eastern Province, sir. And bakunyimba banimvela so pamene perform. Banimvela. Nenze naba house bamenze kunyimba. Iboma yathu enze nathi uza ati ikabwela mu government. Bazambo tipasa fertilizer yokwana. So ati chimanga. But it has not happened. Layer of fertilizer. But watenga fertilizer in my buckets. Nisuka mtu ndubwanji. What type of a country is that? But singatwalanda fyonse futulelanda zakhe wanda pamparedi. Your Kalaba is politicking. Kalaba, you were in PF. You did. Initially president. They can even be president. So that I can show you how power is supposed to be done. Not ababa nesu. Bapo samano kuba foreigners. Ukubo mfyenda na mashaba napsa. Na workers compensation kundona. Why is it that tulelanda lelo bali vula kasumbaleza border post? Pela ma foreigners to run it. Ile lo tulelanda Chanida border post is being run, revenue collection is foreigners doing that. Ile lo tulelanda Churundu, ma foreigners will collect revenue for us. Shata manapo chalo, shata mama foreigners like Zambia does at the expense of its own people. No babalanda tea. Don't worry. Don't worry, because tomorrow is also coming. Before to empower Zambians. Before we are coming, Zambia cannot be the only country in SADC without a millionaire. Namibia got independence way after Zambia got its independence. What became president in 1990? Before we got our independence in 1964. About 1990, by Namibia, they have got 2 non-billionaires there. Before they got water. By Angola, they have got several billionaires. By South Africa, several. Now by Malawi, Mulawaseka, yo, Malawi, by Sharila. Malawi, they have got billionaires there in Malawi. You don't have here. Why? Because Munom Zambia, even copper at the London Metal Exchange. Do you know who's managing our copper? This government has contracted a company called Mercury. It is the one which deals with all Zambian copper at the London Metal Exchange. You're by the foreigners are president US. But we are going to reverse this. Bantu, ekonafuma, balanda chibinda wa wamba, no kwa kanyakanye. Elo balanda utilaka chirakambushi. Kasengulopo kekiri. There is no way 61 years after independence. Even our own money has to be given to others to do a road for us. It will not work. Even our own copper, we have to hire another company to come and manage it for us. No longer to Alanda, Kalaba is just being cantankerous, Kalaba is just playing politics. These are not politics. Our people are suffering every day because of the decisions we are making. But in Polo Chile from China. Honestly, that's the order from Tanzania. Sunflower muladima, but salad direct from Malawi. Tobacco muladima, but for Kamulepe by left Malawi. We can't allow that. We have even reached an extent. No, mukaka milk is coming from Uganda. We need to have incentives for our farmers. Bamwanawasa Lobadiba president. Bamwanawasa in 2005, remember when he worked on the wheat for farmers? Wheat. Yes. Bamwanawasa realized that our farmers were having bread. The price of bread was expensive here. And the farmers said it's because they were competing with wheat which was coming out of Zambia. What Mwanawasa did was to increase excise duty on the wheat coming from outside, and it protected the market here for the wheat growers in Zambia. That is how the price of bread came down. But here, even if you're going to okay, to stabilize the kwacha, why can't we allow foreigners? Why can't we tell them allow the money to come in Zambia, so Zambian account, so that they consolidate the kwacha? Because if our kwacha is measured against the dollar, badikana if you our president wala ndokutila ule fire kuchastisha abikanenda moko ale fire number. Who does that for your people? And the first thing he did when he became president, who paid my incentives kuma mining conglomerates. For 5 years, your heavy equipment, he said there will be no taxes. And when he was asked, why are you doing that? He said, you want to attract more investors in the mining sector. Tell me, today as you and I are speaking, 78% of our exports are coming from the mining sector. And yet only 12% of the mining sector is contributing to our GDP. What does that tell you? It is telling you that mining as it is being seen, as big as it is not contributing much because there is too much capital flight. Tashika enda mu economy ya Zambia. Shika la ku Geneva, shika la ku London, shika la kuisa, and our leaders are happy with that. When I come into government, we have to relook at that and empower Zambians. Basata balela ndati. Lesa ali okupange fialo. Atupela Zambia. Can we be responsible for once and manage this country to the level we should manage it?
This is the Thursday edition of The Burning Issue here on the Happy World of 5 FM Radio. We're also live on our partner station, Spice FM in Chagwa and ZFM in Kapiri. We are also live in Muchinga, Chinsali. That's where we have Muchinga FM Radio. And also live on Platinum Radio in Ndola, iWave FM as well in Chingola, covering the rest of the Copper Belt. And remember also that we are live on Explorer FM in Nyimba. And on our Facebook platform, we are live on 5FM Radio Zambia. That's our Facebook platform. And of course on Smart Eagles as well. And on Kalaba page. And and also Mwana Kalaba page, that's a Facebook page. We are live on that. And so we'll be taking your phone calls now so that you can have interaction with our guest on 0955 221515. That's the number that you are calling us on, 0955 221515. Let me take this call. I will ask you to have your headsets on, Mr. President. Good morning and welcome. Good morning to you. Thank you for calling.
I can't hear.
Brother Namanda in Kampumba. Yes, Brother Namanda, please go ahead.
Manamada, how are you, sir? Well, let's have I'm quiet.
batinga mwaisha bachirimba nesa pale fugalepa pale leta bamu chaba na chakuti ese natwisa mukulanga ati chiremba mulembo wachipuba ukwira muri tumukwe imwanga mukala sushafe imwe chitere ku sushafe ora mnyeno nagomba mukususha tapale ko mukai tapale ko chika mutwali efi yanomba mwashati mwaya kuuka mwaya kutonse mwaya kushanyuko mwaya kuisoko bali mara mazambi naba misura naba munati tamukwete solution kumafya abantu bareshungwa na muri kino cyalo hada inde nabikengera mu bantu nakitwala CDF kubantu abana bareshenda maskiru barera ku maskuru ushaka kustari grade amazambi zirando wazara ndo kuti umwana ushakwa skill aye ku CDF abulengera bamukere skill ekustari grade amazambi yo ate mwabamu so ku CDF kwa babamu umufi yagwafwa bakalaba iyo umufi wamufindira tabwakwata ite uyandanshi kitazvalingira more than 100,000 servants have been employed. Not even a chief of government has done that. The government here in the Shapu Abanti Shaka in Shaba. Tell me, let's be factual. The Maisa Patirimba, let us learn to be very factual so that you become relevant to the politics of this country. You are becoming irrelevant, in, out, Abantu Misula. One of the Mulanda, Kasuka Temama, Abantu Nabari Mwaka. Last year, so I request you for one for the lelo visi mwayumfire ko muntu wayanga tbarega na kutreza mamita hata ndari pera mapetraizo umulinganya abantu bonse balipo no kulima na bali na matwa na yambo muleka akabuda no mbakala sangwa umumwa yake yote ba benefit price agriculture nayo na ni pesa yona ika agriculture.
Thank you, Namanda. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Brother Namanda, for coming. I will take some more on 0955 221515. That's the number that you can get us on if you'd like to be a part of this conversation. Let me take another one. Good morning. How are you today? Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from. Brother Manda, please go ahead, Brother Manda.
Sure. They are saying in their voice. You know, a person who is saying that we have done 90%, meanwhile on the ground the people are suffering. That is something else which we are failing to understand. When you go on the ground, it is a different thing. When they come in, they will tell you that we have worked almost 90%. But people are suffering. People are saying we are suffering. Look at this issue for electricity. Namibia very soon they were celebrating, saying we can't go to Zambia. Here power doesn't go. They are exporting power to Namibia. But here in Zambia, it is so shaky. You see? This is what is surprising us. On the ground, all this that they are saying, they have done 90%. Such kind of people, I'm telling you, if they continue in the power, they will destroy this nation, Zambia. Because you can't be saying we have worked, all people are suffering. fighting once a day. Look at listen to a certain minister saying, no, Zambians are less. Look at that insult which we are being insulted. Zambians are less. But you look at the youth, you find that they can't spirit to wait. They have got barber shops, those are youth. But you find there is no electricity. Electricity comes maybe at 22, then it goes to 04. So what kind of waiting is that? Fertilizer was so expensive. I don't know if you go down, maybe just a bit. Fertilizer they were buying at a very expensive price. Now, where have they waited? Fertilizer were buying at an expensive price, then they're expecting milk to be reduced. It doesn't wait like that. Yes. Fertilizer they were buying it at 1,200, then you expect the milk to go down. That is unfair. You see? So us Zambian background, we are saying, if we continue with UPNG, I'm telling you, Zambia will be doomed to completely. Ebola Kalaba, President, please work together with your groups to remove this government which has destroyed this nation. We are not benefiting anything. They are the only ones who are benefiting. These guys who are calling you here and they are trying to discourage you, they are the people who are benefiting. We don't know which Zambians they are living in. They are being maybe given it to upkeep. But the Zambians at large, Kalaba, the president, please, Zambians are doing what's happening in the ground. We are failing to eat, maybe to things that we are done in one day.
Thank you very much, Brother Amanda. Thank you very much.
In my conclusion, what are our fees? Work hand in hand with your colleagues. Let's remove this government which has destroyed.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let me take another one and then probably you can take time to respond as well. Let me take this one. Good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, welcome to the program. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from. Your name again? Mwelwa from Kalaba. Please go ahead, sir.
It is always about Kalaba. Politicians are just liars. Even last time I called, I was talking about innovation. Let's concentrate on innovation, which can bring a lot of things in our country. Look at India, look at China, look at America, Russia, and the other European countries. They have concentrated on innovation, not on politicians. Politicians are just there to enrich themselves. Yeah?
So what sort of innovations are you proposing?
About people in Mumbai. Foreign in Morocco, we were able to get electricity from a drum of water, from a bowl, from a sokaway. Those are the people we have to concentrate on, not politicians. Politicians are just like, oh, this guy is talking about Kalaba, let us do this. They will just come there and start lying. Now, telling you, all the politicians are liars. And you are tired of this. Look at concentrate on innovation. Even you replies, you have to bring on innovation from that program. Last time when you got an innovation, you need to just one, but politicians, you are really good. How many politicians are really good? But what are very good here to improve this country? Nothing. Just like. Let us be patriotic and let us love this country and improve this country.
Thank you, Bamwel. Thank you. Thank you very much, Bamwel, for coming. Let me quickly squeeze in one more. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, please. Good morning. Your name, sir, and where are you calling us from?
My name is Andrew, calling from Lagos. Good morning, President Kalaba.
Good morning, Andrew.
So, first of all, I want to state that we're going to be ambitious. I think very positive, and there's nothing wrong to be ambitious. And obviously, we are very ambitious. We also want to lead this country one day, which is wonderful. And my question to you is, are you willing and ready to work with other political interests, other political parties of similar interests? And if yes, are you willing to work under somebody? Are you in that ambition? Are you willing to work under somebody? If I
party, political party with similar interests, would you be ready to work under me? And then also I want to just also to just look at the proposed amendments. Obviously, I also want to share your views, and just like many Zambians have said, I think there are some reservations on the proposed amendment. And maybe just quickly just pick on maybe two causes that I feel that to me I think they are quite dangerous. You know, the Kalaba Zambia is a constitutional democracy, and we have a system where we chose our leaders through an election. We elect our leaders. There is a clause in the constitution which tends to remove by elections. Now, I think what they are proposing is that we don't want to work in number two. In case we want to work with this, work for number two, automatically becomes an MP. I think for me that is not democratic, and there's no you can force a person who was rejected by the people to be their representative. I think that for me is not sitting well. If you look at Article 52.6, where this is with where they're proposing for this is the proceedings that mention that one candidate resign. I think also that one is very dangerous because behind Kalaba, you know, political party has done is imagine no candidate. I won't remember that you have Chawama, or in Chawama. Then you are saying that you are going to Chawama. Imagine Yavashta, or you are running back to Avashta. And after Avashta, you may put out that you know, you have a disadvantage. Government has to proceed the election. Yeah, you have a disadvantage as a sponsored party. Do you think that is very fair, Kalaba? So that proves the need to, because look, we are living in a very crazy world today. The MP can just resign, the MP can just decide to defund the Ashish, say that our 2 million higher, maybe it's not a party. And then lastly, the issue of increasing, that clause that seeks to increase the number of nominated MPs. You see, it's come to a moment, I don't know what why would you want to increase the number of nominated MPs in Parliament? Why does this government want to remove that clause in the Constitution? It sits in the statute, it sits in the Constitution. When you go for the Constitution, they take it to Act of Parliament. And you know, Act of Parliament, you are in an MP, Act of Parliament, it's simple majority vote, where the ruling party is going to have an advantage over others. So, these are the things that we are pretty much trying to look at. So what are you going to do to ensure that these clauses don't go through? Because again, I think in Zambia we are talking too much and we are acting late. So I want to assure us, President Kalaba, that we are going to stand for the people and we are going to make sure that these clauses don't go through. What are you going to do as President Kalaba? I thank you and I'm for the program. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Let's have you respond.
Thank you very much to my colleagues who have made the effort to reach you, because I'm sure they're trying to.
Yes.
But it's not easy. Brother Namanda was talking about UPND working on shaft 28. First of all, what is happening on shaft 28? They're just pumping out water for the next 2 years, actually, if not 3 years. They'll just be pumping out water. If you're getting a parade, you're fighting a bomba because they're pumping out water. Anyway, you know what? Balanda Timukandosha. Tamorosha Mukano. Ababa, Awakuli looking mom for if it's to our Nyanta a program. To our Nyanta, so no Batampo, Ambokutam Bokulande, Fukulande. It's because these characters, or people like this, sorry, maybe I should remove characters. People like Vanamanda, type ya Vanamanda, Kale Atampoko, type Zak, Taisho da, Utushimi. Not wale poko untungwa. Ni type ya Vanamanda. Iya landiro utila kaunda wa mulomo na kapoepwe. Nari mwangankumbe. Bali kwa to mulomo, pantu abasungu bali fie wino. Uwe lenski mwaume. Na hapa beni Vanamanda. So type taipua. It will be with us until the kingdom of God comes to us. So awani filo kula mfwa ofeni file. Utuwe muntu walanda tina wabombe chipisha manu ba UPND. No call yoko tumini. Apo wiki na ubiga ulecharge phone aka shop. Pantu kunga na malaista kuti. Eole that tina wabombe chipisha manu. mwaishiwo kutila mano yakwa welenski kada ka virus kakwa welenski takapuwa kadya iwana mando mukadi ba brother manda fishing kamulela abantu bale chula mwakwate chalo chile pela ba Namibia every day 70 megawatts of power from 6 hours to 20 hours during the peak time. Ba Namibia naboku ukwabula nokufisa kuwa mfukwa kufeli kama atiyo twalitela abanesu basi na mutu tasha muno mwine muzambia mutu tasha pa office pali wa vice president pali kwamba ukulando kutila avula imwe ba Zambia kuda kuna media ngatwikala mu darkness avula imwe ba Zambia aba ichebesu abano na mayouths ama baba shop ngabali sana avula imwe ba Zambia malatira mule tupela ama saluni ngabali sana kuna media avula imwe ama sabinge yalabola mwana ndo kutira ama butchery za malati ngatamwati ba vice president tawe lesa mukulu continue supporting you no ba mule pela bana media malati bata mukwete balonga twalanda ba brother Namanda bayi matiyo Kalaba mapolitician twali misula kaya twa misula bafo mulelanda yo chirifi fili okutuya ba brother Manda fishing ka twala bombela pamo yefe na chilando bachinjipisha bazaki na chilando kutila because the agents of now is calling us to work with everybody in the opposition so that we can come up with a common denominator. Pantu nkalamunga yangira mumushi nkalamunga yamingirira mumushi kanufe bose mwakona namu ile nkalamu yala mchitakantu so na ifwe bene muno mchalo chipona na chipona nkalamu na yingire yalo t-shirt nkalamu na umwe na John Lengi makutile mfulanga yalo kanishi atabunga amenshale yingira na munani nasangire bala italikana iyi nyumba ni 1000 chifukwa siama ngena manzi olumvula iloke manzi yange na nyumba bala italikana tumwe batina mulika kuno mchalo nombanga tualanda ba brother Namanda bala njibene tile kobufi kwa Kanyama road shading takwaba and yet there was a period in Kanyama Bazesco even switched off for over 3 weeks summer light.
Just about 3 weeks ago.
Yes bala bashi nomba fasa tunga tualanda abakalamba brother Namanda babachoka laboli wabufi bamwelwa kukabwe defa mumufukishe sana batata mwanando kutila ba politician mosaba wabufi. That's a very unfair statement. Imwe bamwelwa mwachilumba na 1991 ichile pilo kutila muli bakalamba ushemule njira bamwelwa nawa anafebo mwafyala fe mwebene kumusana wenu abana bo mwafyalila bamubene monse tali kwali bammo wa Mutembo umo wa Chipiu umo wa Nakirila umo wa Ntwalikane bali pusana pantu kafyala neni teka pala neni bakapokola tewonse aba ba corrupt kwala bakapokola bammo abashwana corruption bakafundisha bonse tebonse abantu wapanchito kwala bakafundisha ma teachers who don't even drink. You can't find one teacher drunk and then you say all the teachers are drunks. You are being very unfair. Ona le for bompatiri zaki na lesambili philosophy. Elo mu philosophy mo adi topic about that logic. Elo mu logic mo adi about that fallacious reasoning. Tetupange syllogism na ngote tetupange argument from an incorrect premise because the premise wako wale for abapange the argument. That is incorrect. The foundation is wrong. You can't say all politicians are liars. Kwena mulenjwe chine chinka na mwabula ba Hakainde Hichilema mumasta compare na bakaunda timwe batu bose chimochi nyaba because they were presidents. Kwena mwabula Edgar Lungu mwabula na Hakainde Hichilema abantu bebanda pali Edgar Lungu nishwe nda pali Edgar Lungu. It's because now I'm a difference. So you can't say bonse aba opamayanda ife basunga bakashibabo chimochi ne bamwelwa na imwe. It's not true. Umo politician ngambe pobufi o mwasa potele Mr. Disappoint mwitwambukisha ko mwitushinga oluche twali myebele imo bamwelwa ukutira uyu muntu mulesa pota wabufi mwale talika twali myebele ukutira uyu nangu aba president tetala ndo kutira amalight akalenda patena wazena ngabapo $1 16 hours ikabwa akachitike adi myebele no adi president he told you said there's no load shedding anymore because we are working hard around that issue. We are sorting out things. It has not happened. No, but if I told them to do a cheetah, pan to Bolanda, Tulva, Lumoro, in Shosha, Nakiram, Tula, Molo, Bolele, no, I share them kind of office, I shall say, Pantu, in Shimkana Marabiba. But the truth of the matter is, the Bible says in Amos 3, verse 3, two cannot move together unless they agree. One, he doesn't have the requisite experience. Malela and the government has not been in government before. They cannot be careless in telling you president. I can't say that because there is what we call market forces. Economists will tell you that. It is market forces that will determine the price of milling. In ending a president who making sure that environment yaba enabling. We work on productivity. Pakutila elo molesti shobunga. Ni shomutengo wabunga na uchepa kale because mule ipanga mwe fertilizer. Because ama farmers tabale okutali kusenda seed yabo because ama feeder roads na mwombelapo. It becomes much easier. Ukutile fresh tikele. So, all politicians are the same. It is not true, sir. But Andrew,
yeah.
I'm finishing very well. But Andrew, I want to assure you, by Andrew, I'm about press briefing on at the press briefing. I said, I am ready to be led by anybody that is progressive. Anybody whose ideas and ideals match with ours. There's no problem. And I've said that several times. And I said yesterday jokingly, I said, I am young, by the way, when you look at me. I am very youthful. And even another 5 years, 10 years, if there's somebody who is more competent than I am, we'll support them to run the affairs of the country. But even as I am young and youthful, it is the skill, it is the commitment that the people of Zambia are looking forward to seeing me put to good use. They know that the times are desperate. And desperate times require desperate actions. We are not doing that in this country. I'm a light here, yeah? 20 hours. They are doing things normally. But they are still doing their politics. Gatwalanda po, Pradhanamanda Bakuimina. Gatwalanda po, Mamuelo Ukabwe, Mamalanda Tio. Bring a mind innovators. I am my innovators for them to come. Unless a politician with good policies is in place, can alert an environment enabling. Ni politician yakaleta. Ichikaleta environment yukuba enabling. Ni parliament. Olo beka na parliament but ba party beka na parliament. Ma politicians. Mula parliament beka na mo. Teba ntwadikane. Teba marketeer or businessman or abeka na ma politicians. So you have to go where the politicians are for you to make the environment enabling so that you can influence your environment. That's what we are saying. But Andrew, ndefa kamilu kumitasho kutiela. Ama issue yama nominated MPs. Why do they want to increase the nominated MPs? Chile miebo kutiela abantu abali fair. Awa serious in their amendments aba. Ngawala ndile Public Order Act. Our serious in the amendments would have been talking about the cyber security bill, not enacting it quickly into law the way they have done. Our serious, they would have seen ways of empowering our Iche. They are not serious. They are wasting our time. 2026, they are going.
So can we take some more calls? We definitely, first of all, let me quickly sincerely apologize to our listeners that we had gone off air just for a few minutes. We are back on now, and this was due to power failure.
So I was talking to myself.
No. All the other radio stations elsewhere are on. It was just here in Lusaka. Briefly, for just about 2 minutes, we went off air. We are back. So let me quickly give you a few text messages that have come through. First, let me give you one from Chingola. This one says, President Kalaba, continue speaking for us. The majority suffering Zambians. The people of Chingola and the Changa constituency are behind you. This is Evangelist George Mapolanga, aspiring Member of Parliament from Changa constituency in 2026. All right, I still have a couple of messages on our Facebook page.
let's quickly look at them. I have Stars Simwale, who says, Mr. Kalaba, you are just busy praising what other people did. All right, not pretty sure what he means and where exactly and what exactly he is making reference to. Danton Dixon Love, who says Zambians need time with the constitutional amendments, and UPND has got no time left to undertake this exercise. Emmanuel Chilosha says, I'm with you, Mr. Kalaba, please unite with Tonse. I'm tired of hearing lies. All right, and of course, Danton Dixon Love comes back and says, Vanamanda, the caller is telling lies on behalf of UPND. We have eyes to see for ourselves, and UPND has done nothing as per promises made. All right, and Shaka Zulu says the silence in the country is so loud. We have not forgotten the lies that they told us. We are patiently waiting for the general elections to speak through the ballot. And of course, morning President Kalaba, this one is from Kunda M. Lazarus. Morning President Kalaba, you are speaking well. Please join Tonse Alliance. We need, you need my vote. All right, and I think those are the few comments. There are a couple of them on Facebook, a lot of them actually, but we've just read out a few for now. But let me take a few calls. Good morning. Morning.
For me, it's not an encouragement. Do not be distracted by some of us who would come to attack you on this forum. What you must remember is that even in history, even when Hitler was killing people in 1945, somewhere there were people like Joseph Goebbels that were, supporting Hitler on the radio to say that what he was doing was fine. So, Mr. Kalaba, for me, to tell you the truth, the ground, people are crying on the ground. It's not things on the ground, step into. Because, Mr. Kalaba, if we are going to disintegrate as the opposition, then this aflatoxin environment that we are being subject to is going to continue. So, for me, this they told us that by 14 hours when they came into power, the dollar would be reduced to single digits. Why hasn't the dollar reduced up to now? Did they mean 14 years? They told us that we would be buying million 50 quarter. Today we are buying million 450 quarter. What do you think has gone wrong? So, which is why we are saying that these people, they know that they have messed up on the ground. So they would want to manipulate the constitution so that they prolong their stay in power. But should we allow them, Mr. Kalaba? Because if we allow them, our country would be as good as privatized. So continue speaking on behalf of the masses. I can assure you in those compound people are following you. Thank you very much. I can move and something.
Thank you very much, Mutembo, for that. Let me quickly give you a message here. It says, good morning, President Kalaba. I'm Wenda calling you from Nyimba, Eastern Province. I want to advise you to listen to what your friends are saying. A common person has no business with UPND and the HH. So we are looking up to you in opposition to unite. If UPND bounces back in 2026, it is you, President Kalaba, to blame. So the earlier, the better for you to come together. All right, let me take another call. Good morning. Tauka Mawakabwanji.
Tauka Mawakabwanji mwe.
Bamudenda.
Kemna mimi mumatirindisa kufunza makambati ya invest ya invest gangster control. Next alliance mangina mu alliance again machoka mu alliance. Manje nifunzo yanga ni yabuti. Mnimbera.
Yes, please go.
Kulanganya kuti ruling a Chipani is very easy than ruling a country. You know what Kalaba support disappoint them can Kalaba president, disappoint because they will place the Kumankala Mas, then you go put and Bambi, then stand in Kulabatinaro, Kevin president. Mukakati kila tezena ngoto kamba cha nina bile kavaa utani kwa president because kaiti olete mwashena kujala ukimetiana mtoka mchikwati mangena mchikwati matoka mchikwati tumangenao so nzapi mijidani bani as a family muntu akwatira first wife second wife amupisha and then kuja kuita nani third wife atigorani mitandi kile kile kakambe nganya chikwati kama mtu mzamtenga fans is very seriously olotape ni muntu wa bani wakala walio bantu wa bani one time waona kwa matuta kujala point machoka mpiefu matunao mu so hapa again mu stand frame to say you want to be a president anje kumpeanga nyako cha the president mzakatinkia kama bali mbele la tu akaunda the other time wanao kati anukista design for some hours ile kwa mimi mzakatinda ni Kalaba kono mbele.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mudenda. Let me take one more call, and then, well, we lost that one, but 0955221515 is the number you're calling us on if you'd like to come through. Good morning. I'm well, thank you. How are you? And where are you calling us from? Mukosa. Is this Mukosa?
Yes, from the
Okay. Are you calling from within Lusaka? Please go ahead, sir.
Tilimwina Mukosa mlipanje?
You are speaking very well, comrade. Although I'm a bit worried, like the previous one Mudenda has mentioned, it is right, Kalaba, you are not stable. You have got no direction. That's why you are moving up and down. Looking at where you are coming from, when you resigned from PF, you told the nation that you resigned because PF was very corrupt and you cannot be, you cannot work with the corrupt individuals. But today, up to today is the 2025. You have not told the nation those corrupt activities, but PF are all what we are hearing now is that you want to work with the same corrupt people. Listening to these former commanders that are advising you because they want to go back into these different markets, party stations, these are the people that are calling you to work with them because they know that once you join Tonse, you'll be advancing the PF agenda. Look at the way the framework of the structure of Tonse, the way it is. The chairman is PF. The secretary general is PF. Those are big positions in the party. They just want to bring you together a fucking mum pitch so that you cannot excel as opposition political party. You, Mr. Kalaba, you are the only different leader that I do follow. That's why even when you are in Canelo, you are where you are in radio, I always phone you. You, at least you say, you talk about how you do things, unlike these other political parties. The only difference is when speak with Zana Yamene Mukamba, which is PF when the corrupt need denied the very well. Mukamena that was Lakambi. Come with 3/4 of the issues that he raised. We are very sure on about video, Manunda Zokamba, Mamoto, the one. But in my step. So, in short, what I'm in conclusion, what I'm saying, don't be amongst these leaders, those who are just fighting everything. Are you telling me, Kalaba, that it is cyber security and cyber crime act that has been enacted? They are bad laws. Which one is bad among them? Because if you ask me, Kalaba, even your political parties, you cut as the way they are behaving. They are too different to appear. You would be the first leader to say, no, we need this, we need sanitary socialism. We need people must respect each other. People must start respecting our leaders. If you are talking about my age, you panic around. That's why you say, no, malamulo muno Zambia aliko tamechirenga kuti vantu vaziaderera malamulo ni punishment yachepa. Even these corrupt activities amene mwazoona mPF, if we had laws ya corruption amene kamba kuti muntu akapezeka kuti is involved into corrupt activities, kulibe bail, kulibe bond, ukapezeka guilty in right imprisonment. So the corruption, we need these stiff laws to control our citizens.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Mkosa. We appreciate your comment. President Kalaba, maybe you can respond to some of those and most of those.
Thank you very much, Azax, and thank you again to the callers. Most of them are using vernacular, so I have to answer them.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Yes. But there's this one from George Compound. I think he was talking about Vantuafutikamo.
Yeah, that's Mutembo.
Mutembo.
Yeah.
I think Mutembo had never nefingi. Mutembo, I mean, never mona to the pitam. Mutembo, Vantuale Chula, Namimwana Mwebene, Nefia Kustana Mushiva. Amaka Mukwete Mushu Utila, Vale Pela marriage. Kapokena marriage, I don't know what Chagwa marriage one. Then Beshin no vote. Pakutila mu 2026 mukeshefa kuomba na ba CF na ngola ba opposition pakutila tukatanje ba UPND mumaka batuchusha abantu ba mudenda balando kutila bakala mwali mu PF bafuma mu PF mapanga pate futhi mapanga pate mwaingira muka mwafuma ba mudenda balilanda panta beshi befuma politics ya ikala shaba mudenda na mwishi bati na UPND mule supporter mu 2006 ba UPND bali mu UDA bali mu alliance bagati UDA yo UDA mwali ba UNIP mwali ba FTD mwana ba UPND bafuma muri yo alliance ba UPND ba mu alliance na ba PF mu 2006 2007 ba mu alliance na ba PF uda ba mu alliance na ba PF again fyakana okugombeka ba UPND bafuma mu PF UPND alliance mulando wakutira ba Hakainde bali ba president. After a family alliance Hakainde, by the money alliance bapangire, iyo alliance bapangire Hakainde, by the money alliance ya na Shontembo, ya ba Winter Kavimba and others. Futi alliance ba UPND bafumamu. Ero ba family alliance ba UPND. Futi basa muri imbi alliance baingiremo na Lukuku. May he so rest in peace. There's a position called Lukuku.
Yes.
Lukuku. Bangira mu alliance na ba Lukuku. Ero bangiremo alliance na ba Lukuku ba UPND. Kabili after umubafumomo elo bamutukero mu alliance na bamirupi na ba mutati 5 alliances along the way bafumomu bayomu bantu balefo kusanga alliance ngabafua and you can't laugh at him nishi bale chinjisha bantu namfe kulunga bamdenda lelo lelungira ku southern province nangula kukabanshi mala nukumbonshi bila kushikuduka banga bantu inamata sangu afye kumokwine ku area iyo ifanga ba CF ngafuta chimiwa we progressive party katwa ikale pano tukale muchindo cyo tumwenda palo kuchirea tukala tiyo bantu ngatwa fuma muno balalanda tiyo no muafuma mukuri ba mudenda ushi kutemenwe takakoiba chusuma bobe so aba mudenda aba he will leave all the progressives ngakango kola fishing eno ba mudenda leza mileleke atuberekera ntongo ba comrade mukosa bayando kutila bakalaba mulefo kubomana ba PF abashali ntwanikane bomwayimeli atishani bamukosa balabo kutila president bale support Hakainde Hichilema adanjira mashiwa yako sapali ba Stumbe kumsokotwani Hakainde Hichilema adanjira mashiwa yako sapali Elijah Muchima Hakainde Hichilema alikonde mele bana lumangwa wa vice president wako nishwali mwema mdi enali mu UPND ile bale bombera pa ama politics we differ on principle and by PF I resigned from their government nishajo inabo PF ine I have not gone back in PF. I have moved on. Chang PF ine. I am one of the most stable and principled leaders Zambia is yet to usher into office. When I said I have left, I had left. Because the Bible says, he who puts his hand on the plow and looks back is not fit for the kingdom. The other day, a very close associate of mine was telling me, Mashindi, he was saying, but President, you are so tenacious. You want to go about discouraged here, just continuing. Because coming to discouraged, I would have set up politics now. Even when my UPN divine Mishabantu to destroy a part, all I said was, Tafiko Sapubiri, sendeni chilongano chenu chimule bati mumapangire. Tulomo loko mule chitwala, na ifoto wala mnogo twalaya. Ena wanandi abdagala panchi. Twapanga CF. CF ya ile piango mulilo. Nomanga mwamfane landefi. Nishpai no mwenso. Ateka nyefi. Etwabaleki. Etwabasuminishe to continue sitting on the rights of Zambians. We are on their case.
Well, time is not with us, unfortunately. We need to start concluding, but then,
Indeed.
yeah, we need to start concluding. So let's quickly get into your conclusion with regard to everything that we have discussed, or indeed, if you've got anything that you feel we've left out that you would like to reach out.
You mentioned
Emkwai, mbomfe benakira.
Anyway.
Natatela wakateka pa insambu mwampero utingaranda kupa nono. Pamonga omu vikire mwachitekera kuti ningemina mchawama okurandira kwakwe kwa vena chawama abana banandi abeshukuru besu abana besu mchawama ndi waipera vakateka nokuromba kwandi payo opportunity mwampera yako kuti vena chawama vengapere authority nangwensambu yakutinka nkaveminineko ngefe nandire nindishwapa kwambira immediately tafere mu office chimona udata epistu wikala pa computer na keyboard in front na ishwapa di full stop na ishwapa di capitalizing na ishwapa di hash efyo na ine na ishwa chawama kuchilanga konse jona wadi konse mwadi 2 monse na munkoloma wadi 1 monse. And I know our harness investment which is coming into Chawama. Now Manat Kwatama filling station, now they're coming into Chawama. We are seeing more is coming into Chawama. We need to collaborate with those people that are coming there so that benefits can come to the people of Chawama. The leadership we've had has been coming and that Murembo Achikuva, Ukura Muditum from Chawama. The Maingra Mudi history Chawama. Madirector was some Congo ko bafuneka bulonga lero chama tafunya ko muntu mumchawama kutwala kumunadi na nkulu saka central kutenge minina awe batumona shani mareta wa Kristo Ntembo, may his soul rest in peace. Mareta bafunya kumakeni ba break sampa bafunya kumakeni ngana tina ndo kufika na pali lero linena ngwale mpetu kwetu na wavenete wamo teba mchifuro mchawama allegiance yabo ili kumbi imimule munano kumona fire chitika kuti vari ndikuma holiday vatusha representation yatasafa tientu bomfyo muntu wamchawama waigara naimwe waishwo kushingwana amafya tureshingwana nayo elo kuchadira chawama yashadira ni ine problem yakwati abaleisa whatever little they acquire during the time they are MPs, they spend it somewhere where they come from. Choose a person who stays there, who even when he wants vegetables, he will buy from the same market, Kuku market, Katambalala market, Chawama market. These are our markets which have brought us up. John Howard market, these have been our markets. Let's see how we look after ourselves. We have these hospitals that have come into Chawama. You've seen the indiscriminate dumping of garbage around Patuka, around the Mrs. Rail line, in fact the whole rail line, which is detrimental to our health. We need to work on that, to work together with me so that we find a lasting solution and make our people and our place safe.
Yes, ma'am. President.
Thank you very much, Sazak. Mine is to first of all encourage our people out there. Please take advantage of the process of vote registration. Be a registered voter. Don't just talk. Go and get a voter's card and be prepared for the elections that are coming in 2026. The change we seek depends on you getting registered. The other issue I want just to encourage you on is we have to remain united as Zambians. Despite our differences, despite whatever political affiliation, we must remember first that we are Zambians. And those of us who are going through economic hardships, like all of us are, it's a question of time. That's why I'm saying go and get registered. These economic hardships have been imposed on us by the current regime and their supporters, and we'll make sure that you and ourselves hold hands. We will not even fear them, by the way. We'll be speaking for you, so that you know that you have got a leadership in place. Balanda tipafwa abantu, pashala abantu. For to share, will represent you with fairness, but without fear. Thank you very much, Zax, for giving us this opportunity, this platform to talk to our people out there. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.